Hi guys, Jim again with yet another Sudoku flavoured video. Today we'll be tackling a chess Sudoku, and I'll explain what that means shortly. It's part of a collection of puzzles pulled together by the Cracking the Cryptic team. Definitely worth checking them out if this is something that you enjoy. Either watching other people solve puzzles, because they have their own YouTube channel where they've been posting daily solves for years and years, and they're really clever guys and they solve very beautiful puzzles. Or if you like actually completing Sudokus yourself, definitely check it out. I think the collection of puzzles that they've published are tremendous. It's really interesting variants on Sudoku, for one thing, right? So it's base of Sudoku plus bits and pieces, which is cool. But also the puzzles themselves are handcrafted, and they've got a very beautiful and logical solution path. So 100% worth checking it out. Curated hints to help you get through, etc., etc. But in this video, I'm going to have a go at this chess Sudoku. So let's get on with it. So the first thing to recall, if you've seen my other videos, chess has three sort of sub-flavors, if you like: knight, king, and queen. So let's go back to knight. I think these are the more interesting variants. And as with all the other collections, you increase through difficulty as you go. So you complete the earlier puzzles to earn stars, which unlock later puzzles. So there you go. And we fortunately have another one-star puzzle to go at, because these get very tricky. I think the chess Sudokus are some of the hardest variants out there. So, but yeah, so let's jump into this Knight Sudoku. So as a quick reminder, what do we mean by Knight Sudoku? So in addition to the normal rules of Sudoku, we've got the column, the rows, the columns, and the boxes all must have the digits 1 through 9 in exactly once. In addition to that, chess Sudoku says that in Knight Sudoku particularly, a number cannot repeat in a knight's move away from it, right? So this 4, for instance, obviously it can't go in its row, column, or box, it's already there, but also you couldn't put a 4 in any of these cells, because in chess those cells are a knight's move away. So knight in chess moves by going 2 over and 3 up, or 3 up and 2 over, whichever way you like. But that would be a knight's move away, so that cannot be a 4. So even though in a normal rule of Sudoku, that would be allowed to be a 4 because it's not in a box or a column or a row, with this 4, it couldn't be here. And in fact, you can tell this software is very handy. It grays out the cells that see that box, that cell. So, this is an interesting digit because it rules out these ones as well. So that is quite powerful, right? So you get a lot of extra information. And you can see it kind of move around. So very helpful, very helpful. Right, anyway, so that's the rule. And let's go. So the way to do this, I found, is just to treat it like a normal Sudoku until you come up against something that feels chessy. So what I usually do with Sudokus is I believe it's called Snyder notation. So I go around and I pencil mark in numbers where we can only see 2 of them must go in there in the box, for instance. Does that help? Kinda, actually. So we've got an interesting situation here where in this box the ones are locked into here, and if I look in this box, the ones are locked into here. So this doesn't tell me a great deal about where the 1 goes in that box, but if I combine it with the knowledge that down here there's definitely a 1, what that means is that in this box I cannot put a 1 in either of these columns. And the reason for that is effectively, if you look at this column and ask where does a 1 go, it has to go in this box, right? Because there's a 1 there and a 1 there. So that's the way to see it. But the other way to see it is to notice that the 1s are sort of in use. So I've got a 1 here, and therefore a 1 will be there, or I've got a 1 here and therefore the 1 will be there. Either way round, the 1s in these 2 columns are used up already. So the 1 must go here, and then therefore it actually is limited to 2 places in that box as well. It's limited to 3 places in this box, and there is an interesting thing here, because I don't usually like to pencil mark 3 cells in a box, but in this case, what you'll notice is that, and again, I could never spot this stuff myself, so this is all down to the software, but this cell actually sees all 3 of these cells as well. So it sees obviously these 2 by the the normal column, but it also sees this one. So whichever of these three is a 1, I cannot put a 1 in that cell. And so actually this box is more limited than it looks. So it's limited by these two 1s. So those two 1s rule out the 1s from there. But also that cell is ruled out by these 3. Right, so that's really interesting, right? So that cell can't be 1. So the 1s are limited in those two boxes. And look, it kind of goes back on itself, because now if I ask the question, could I put a 1 here? Well, I couldn't, because it would rule 1s out of both of these cells. But I know there must be a 1 in one of them. So that cell cannot be a 1. So then if I go back and ask the question, okay, well, where can 1 go in this box? Actually, it's gone down to 2 cells. So I can pencil mark that in quite nicely. So that's really useful. Excuse me, just 1 second. Right, sorry about that. Okay, so does that tell us anything useful? Not really. Well, a 1 is in one of these 3 places in this box now. Okay, fine. All right, we've done 1s. Okay, 2s. Are 2s limited in the middle box? Yeah, you get whenever you get a number on the edge of a box, it rules out the middle 3 cells in the next box in chess Sudoku, obviously. So it's quite interesting. Right, 2. I don't think I'm getting much help from 2s, am I? Well, actually, yeah. So this cell, it sees that 2. So 2s are locked into 2 cells in this box, which means they're locked into 2 cells in this box, which is helpful. Ah, okay, and yes, in fact, that 2 sees that 2. So, excuse me, what I meant to do is rule that out as being a 2. So that is, in fact, a 2. And look, and therefore this must be the 1. So actually, from nowhere, we can manage to get the 1 in that box. That's amazing. That's a 1 as a result. That's a 1 as a result. And in this box, 1s are in one of those 2 places. So that's handy. That's handy. 2s. Ah, wow. 2s are actually really limited now in this box. In fact, a 2 can only go here. So we look in this box. This cell is ruling out these 3. And then this 2 here is ruling out that one and that one. So actually, a 2 can only go there. 2s are... Ah, and in this box, we've only got... Yeah, so 2s are ruled out from that. Oh, so wow, suddenly, didn't look like I had much going for 2s, but all of a sudden, they're opening up. What do I know about 2s? 2s are in one of these 3, which may or may not be helpful. 2s in this box are limited, yes, so 2s can only go... In fact, that must be a 2. So 2s are locked into one of these 2 here, and then that must be a 2 as a result. Sorry. Yes, 2. Wow, we did really good work with 2s. Surely 3s are not going to be as useful. Yeah, well, there's a 3 there instantly. There's a 3 in one of these 2, but because of this one here, but also this one, that cell, it can't be a 3. So there must be a 3 locked in there. Must be 3s in one of these 2 and these 2. The classic X-wing pattern. But not very helpful because... Yeah. There are 3s here. Is that useful? No, not really. Ah, okay, so there must be a 3 here in this box. So that is useful. And then we've got the final... Yeah, we can't do much more with 3s here, can we? So with knights, it's always worth just double checking. I think that's fine. Right, 4. 4s are limited. 4s are in there, and therefore, as a result, they're in there. And you can't put a 4 there because it sees both of those 2. So in fact, in this box, 4s are in 2 places. You can't put 4... Yeah, 4s. Yeah, so we've got the same sort of thing going on here. So there's a 3 cell restriction for 4s here, but that sees that one, so that can't be a 4. And that does only leave 2 spaces. And then again, that flips back on this cell, on this box, because they can no longer put a 4 in that one. So that one or that one is the 4, which is interesting. Don't think it's super helpful, but interesting nevertheless. 5s. Can we do much with 5s? Not really. 5s we can go on one of these 3. It's not super helpful. Similarly, 5s are in these 3 positions, so that can't be a 5, but I didn't think it would be anyway. What is this column missing actually? That's always worth asking. Yes, okay, look, there's a 7 missing from this column, so I can instantly just put 7 and 8 like that. Before we zoom off and look at 7s and 8s, so let's just double check that we've done everything we can with 5s. I think we have. What about 6s? 6 is limited to these 2 cells in this box, which then combines nicely here because the virtual 6 in here and over here mean that you can't put 6 here, and then these cells, well, that one sees that by knight's move, and in fact that one sees that by knight's move, so that really can't be a 6. So that's a 6, that's a 3. This sorts out some earlier pencil marking. That's a 3, and that's a... Sorry, I don't know why I thought that sorted that was a 4. It doesn't. It doesn't. That was just me being eager. So that's a 3. Fine. Okay. Sorry, where were we? Right, so 6s. 6s are limited to one of 2 cells in that box, which means they're limited to one of 2 cells in this box. We've got this 3 situation. That's interesting. Yeah, so in the top box, actually, that helps. That can't be a 6 because 6s are limited over here. So that can't be a 6. And then that combined with this 6 gives us that 6s are limited in that box to those 2 places, which in turn means that 6s are limited in that box to those 2 places. And as if from nowhere, we've managed to deduce that that is in fact a 6. That's really interesting. That's a 6 to finish up, sort out that pencil marking. That gives us a 3 up the top as well, which is our last 3 over there. So that's nice as well. What are we missing from here? We are missing an 8, and there can't be an 8 there, so an 8 must go there, and a 9. Right, sorry. So before we move on, I think I'm still looking at 7s. So 7s are limited here. I mean, I was looking at 6s, but I think I've finished them. Yeah, happy with that. 7s. Oh wow, yeah, 7s are limited in that box to that, which virtual column stuff means that can't be a 7. That is a 7. In this box, 7s are in one of 2 places down there, and one of 2 places here, which means they're in one of 2 places here. No, in fact they're in one of 1 places because that 7 sees that. So in fact that must be a 7. That tidies that up as being a 4 as well, which is nice. That's a 7. That's a 4. That's a 6. That's a 6. Oh wow, look at that. That just did 4, 7 and 6s beautifully. That's all the 6s done, I think. Okay, 4s are... Still could be a few things for 4s. 6s. Oh no, sorry. What about 7s? Okay, 7s are sort of fine. 8s. Okay, so there's an 8 in this box, which sorts out the 8 in this box. That gives us that 4, which gives us that 4, which is nice. So now we've got 4s seeing this middle box, so that must be a 4, which gives us this 4, and then the final 4 on the top, which is lovely. What have we got here? 5 and 9. Both of those are fine, I think. Oh wow, we haven't done very well on 5s at all, have we? Okay, so yeah, so there's a 5 here, which means that can't be a 5. So that's a 5, and that 5 tells us which of these 2 is in fact a 5. So that's a 5. That's nice. So that's a bit better than it was, isn't it? Still not solved. There's a 5. One of these 2. 7. Sorry, I didn't notice this column rather is missing a 5, as it happens, as we were just discussing. So that's therefore a 5, and that's a 5. And as if from nowhere, we've been able. Oh, yeah, that sees that cell. So that's a 5 in this box. That's a 5 to complete to be the last 5 in the grid. That's therefore a 2, and that's therefore a 7. That's therefore a 7, and that's therefore a 2. This is missing a 9. This is missing an 8. This is missing a 9. This is missing an 8. Oh, is this literally how it's going to go? 9. This is missing an 8 and a 9, so that must be the 9. And finally, I think that's the 8. Hooray! Yeah, I enjoyed that. Like I said, I do like the chess variants, but I do think they're much harder. I do think they're much harder in general. You've just got to be much more observant with the different shapes. You're just not used to it. You're just not used to seeing it. So, but anyway, I really enjoyed that puzzle. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.